Combat Warriors. A game I've always been curious about but never experienced myself. A game that I've heard many times is toxic, not good, pay to win, terrible, etc. That was what I was told for at least 3 years now. And that was generally what I believed from both my friends who experienced the game firsthand and YouTube videos explaining their disdain for Combat Warriors' current state. So I thought, why not I finally put my assumptions of this game to rest and see if the reality of this game truly is as bleak as people make it out to be. So, to my genuine surprise, the game has beginner servers. I'm actually glad it even has this, because it allows the player, me, to experience the game without being blitzed instantly by people who know the ins and outs of a jawbreaker. My opinion of what I believe the game to genuinely be is going to be up in the air, since for at least the 2 hours I've played the game, 1 hour recorded and 1 hour off screen, I can say with certainty that I actually had fun. The game is surprisingly accessible despite the ping I was faced with, the chaos was fun, everyone was on a playing level field, it just felt like something actually worth playing. Now, let's stop right there. Once I was finished with the game and went through my footage, I started taking notes at some of the things I fell victim to quite a few times. So let's go through these notes real quick. Number 1. Parry. I don't play parry-eccentric games, but in the very few instances I have, parries do not result in an instant death. Most of the time, they give the player who parried a very minor advantage. In this game, parrying is essentially a first-class ticket to the underworld. But this isn't those other games I've played. You get parried and basically die. Now, maybe that's just a skill issue because I'm less so a defensive parry type player and more so a balls to the walls, kill everyone mentality type player. But even then it got a bit ridiculous. Back to the main note at hand though. I'm not a fan of parry completely determining the outcome of a fight. I wager it takes away a lot of the skill in the game and becomes more of a fishing simulator than an actual brawl to the very end. While this wasn't apparent in the servers I was playing in, it definitely showed when I'd be fighting someone alone. That being said, I think it's time to move on to the second note.
Number 2.
Guns. Guns in this game feel like a sick inside joke. They are not only monstrously overpowered, but are very easy to use. In the 4 instances I've gone against or used a gun, I went against an AK, got to use a minigun, went against a shotgun, and got to use a minigun again. And let me ask you, the viewer, how do you even counter these? To any veteran of this game, if there's even any watching, please do share how you even counter something this easy and powerful to use. I'm genuinely curious. But anyways, the reason I say they feel like some sick inside joke is because of their presence, and, well, balancing. It's like if you were to bring a fully loaded firearm to a joust. It doesn't really make sense in the context it's put into, and from what I've seen, ranged weapons that are viable to the player are crossbow related. In fact, most of the weapons in this game follow a very barbaric and medieval theme. Yeah, there's a few references, but they're references, not full-on powerhouses that can probably outmatch a Mythic in every area. Now I'll give it at least one bit of credit. Guns are only accessible via crate drops, and the users can still be killed as they aren't given any form of defense boost. Maybe at most a few items to prolong their survival, but at the same time, would a sword really outrange a full-on?
Gun.
The answer is no. Moving on. Number 3. Mythic weapons. I loosely remember the release of Energy Blade being talked about on videos for a good long while, and just searching it up shows me what I'd expected honestly. Mythic weapons feel like they're in that joke territory that guns are in, except mythic weapons are something you have to take seriously. What shocks me the most is that you straight up cannot buy them via natural means. You have to either gamble for it, which I cannot do, or find some other way to get it outright without it being limited use. They're powerful, do insane damage, and just like guns are very easy to use. Now yes, mythic weapon drops buff the player's stats by a tad bit, but I feel even without the stat buffs, they'd still be ridiculous to fight back against. The average weapon at this stage in the game will do, let's say, 25 to 35 damage. Mythics do far over that and even apply a bleed from what I've seen. The abilities are ridiculous and you honestly don't even need to try with these unless you got it from a crate. But even then, once you die, you've most likely done so much damage that it's futile for anyone to try overtaking your score. I can only imagine what it's like in standard servers when people can just naturally own these weapons. Fighting someone who just has the better weapon to every degree and abilities that you essentially can't do anything about just feels like these weapons are a joke. But they aren't. You need money and luck to get them, arguably making them the easiest and hardest weapons to get. Honestly, the more I talk about Mythic weapons, the more I'm confused about them. Are they really designed like this on purpose as some kind of money scheme? A money scheme that people willingly give into? Are they meant to be the grand dream of power tripping in a game that seems to have so much potential, or had, in being a fair playing field where it really doesn't matter if you win or lose, just as long as you're playing the game for what it is? Maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but when I see overpowered weapons, I can't help but wonder, what is the genuine reason behind its addition? Though that answer is pretty clear to me. Money. A money scheme that I'll never give into because I'm not a loser and I literally can't even if I wanted to test the waters. I don't really see why these are necessary weapons to have in the game, but money talks. If people keep buying their way to them, there's no reason for them to be removed, so oh well. And that's where this rather short video would end. But I'm not entirely satisfied with this opinion. I didn't get to experience the game to its fullest extent, but the idea of mythic weapons being rampant, money serving a much higher priority in comparison to hard work and effort, and parry fishing in a game that centralizes itself around mindless brawling, it has me at a standstill. On one hand, I can vow to never play the game again and leave this as my definitive opinion on the game. Or on the other, continue down a path of adversary to really see if the game is what I believed it to be. For the time being, I'm gonna stray away from both paths. I'm open to keep going, but feel like I'd have my time wasted for nothing. But what do you think though? Is it worth it, or is it not worth it? This doesn't mean I'd become a Combat Warriors YouTuber, oh hell no, hell no. But it's something I'd keep in the back of my mind for next time I play this game. This was more or less my view of the game as a beginner. Not a professional or anything like that, nah. My experience of the game was far different, but I feel a few of my points in the 3 main notes I jotted down would remain relevant for standard servers. I don't think the game is bad, but I can see why and how it's bad. A decent game with predatory monetization tactics is nothing new to me, but it sucks to see in games that could genuinely be good or were good resort to this kind of tactic. But otherwise, that's my short-ish take on Combat Warriors as a beginner. If you enjoyed, comment your thoughts on the game as a whole because I am rather curious. Subscribe, and yeah,